Hey y'all, welcome back to Hopped Up Beer Review. Today we are drinking Narragansett Lager from Narragansett Brewing Company out of Providence, Rhode Island. Thank you for joining us.
Narragansett beer on the porch rail, cheap little heaven in a cold pale can, talking big dreams, small town, tall tales, passing that red label hand to hand.
Hey everybody, welcome to Hopped Up Beer Review, the show where we give you an unprofessional and somewhat biased opinion about the beer that we are drinking and reviewing. We're back. I know you missed us. There's Jay. There's Andy in the attic. I'm Ben. What are we drinking today?
Narragansett Lager. Hi, neighbor. Let's go.
All right. And who, pray tell, has had this one before?
Me.
I think we've all had it. I don't think I've ever logged it, though.
I've never had it. I mean, yes, I've had it and logged it. I mean, not logged it. Never had it.
Sounds like Ben's going first.
Ben is going first.
It's been pretty prevalent here lately. I've seen across the southeast. So.
Cheers, mates.
Cheers,
Cheers,
mates.
mates.
Have a Gansett. So Narragansett Lager. It's 5%, 12 IBUs. It's been brewed since 1890 and is New England's oldest beer. It's currently the highest rated Heritage American Lager, according to Beer Advocate and Untapped. And it has won gold medals at the Great International Beer Fest and the World Beer Championships. It's brewed with 6-row malt, some corn, I like how it said some corn, and a proprietary blend of Pacific Northwest hops. It was the best-selling beer in New England from the 1930s through the 1970s. The name comes from a tribe, an Algonquin-speaking tribe named the Narragansett. And in the land that is now Rhode Island, and the name Narragansett means at the narrow point of land. It's also the name of a bay in Rhode Island, which was named after that tribe, that Algonquin-speaking tribe in Rhode Island. This was the official beer of the Boston Red Sox from the 1940s through the 1970s. And it was, I think it wrote it down, the first, I'll get to that later. We'll get to that first later. So sponsored the Red Sox.
It's the first. I'll get to that later.
Yeah. Because I remember that, but I was like, no, it's more about the company than this exact beer. But it is this beer in that company.
So, ironically, what's the beer from 1970s on for Boston?
We'll get to
that one too.
Yeah, we'll get to that. So, Captain Quint from the movie Jaws drank this. Yep. Crushed it in the cabin there on the ship.
In the infamous scene.
I thought this was a cool little fun trivia fact. From the 1930s to the 1940s, the advertising art was done by Theodore Geisel, which most people remember as Dr. Seuss. And those ads had a Native American character called Chief Gansett. That was I guess, prompted by the owner of the brewery, who was a collector of Native American artifacts. And he went to Dartmouth, and which had a connection with Dr. Seuss, Theodore Geisel, who also went to Dartmouth. So when I went on to look more about it, the owner at the time, he made a museum, and not only he wasn't just one of these guys who just robbed the land of artifacts. He gave back to the India. He was a promoter of the Native American community and all, and made a museum, and he was a proponent of it. So I thought that was pretty interesting. They've got I like how Narragansett Brewing Company, they had a great video about their history on it. So, which rolls us right into Narragansett Brewing Company out of Providence, Rhode Island. It's a regional brewery founded in 1810 by 6 German immigrants. They invested at that time $150,000 to construct the brewery. Ooh. In year 1, they produced 397 barrels. In year 2, they produced 27,887 barrels. To the moon. Geez, those guys went off. And in year 10, not year 3, geez, year 10, they were up to over 115,000 barrels. So just that, 397 to over 27,000 in one year over year is amazing. So as with any old brewery, older than 100 years old, we know they had to go through Prohibition. So like a lot we've talked about on the show, they sold sodas, ice, and near beer, as well as prescription beer and malt extract. So the malt extract, could, quote, reinvigorate a patient and, quote, enrich their blood. And prescription beer, pregnant women were prescribed medicinal porter, which was considered high in iron. But they did sell a lot of ice, which helped to get them through back then during Prohibition.
Ice.
Yeah. As I had alluded to about the Red Sox in the 30s through the 70s, or 40s through the 70s, they were the official beer of the Red Sox. They were the first, Narragansett was the first alcoholic sales company to sponsor an American sports team. So the thing that you see on this, the High Neighbor, came from the Red Sox radio announcer, and that was his kind of like tagline for it, and that took off, and so they put that on the can.
Wow. High Neighbor, have a Gansett.
Yeah. So Narragansett's peak sales were in 1965 at 2 million barrels. After that, they were purchased by Falstaff Brewing. However, that sale took 10 years to take place because of an antitrust suit.
To close.
And took 10 years to resolve. So when we're talking about why did they stop sponsoring the Red Sox, this transition in ownership. Yeah. So in 1982, they shut down the Rhode Island brewery and moved all Narragansett to being brewed in Fort Wayne, Indiana. They tried to reopen a brewery in 1983, but it never reached the market. So fast forward, nothing happened until 2005. A Rhode Island native rallied some investors to make it independently owned. And so they're now back in Providence, as well as Rochester, New York. That was a fun history. I really enjoyed looking this one up. It looked like I'd never heard of it, or maybe I heard of it and seen some people post it like on Untapped. But it looks like one of your old school beers, regional beers that, it's like, oh, I wish we could have had something like that growing up, just your
Yeah.
Yeah, I
basic.
remembered it
8 or
from
9.
the
Yeah.
Jaws movie. So I remembered seeing it there with Quint. And I'd
Yeah.
heard of it many times, even before I knew a few other things related to Narragansett Bay. I do like the little can with the ship on there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean, when did they kind of make a comeback, AD?
2005.
2005 is when
Okay.
the investors got together and
So I don't remember seeing this when I lived in New York, which I feel like I probably did, but I just don't remember it. So, huh. All
I would
right,
bet you did.
I
I
probably
loved
did.
on Untapped how they have it called as a historical beer.
Yeah. Hmm.
I don't know if you noticed that.
yeah, I saw that. That's what I had to read up about that.
Yeah.
Didn't really describe the flavor very well.
I like how you mentioned some corn.
Yeah,
That
that's their words, not mine.
kind of made me think of that Sopranos episode where Tony gets mad about the sun pulp in the orange juice. If you remember that,
May
so,
contain some pulp.
yeah, he's like, I like this says sun pulp. I like the kind with pulp, or whatever the back and forth is. Anyway, all right. Since I don't think I've had this before, I'll go first. A little bit on the fence with this one. I think, I mean, as far as kind of a lighter 5%, I mean, I say lighter, I mean, it's clearly somewhat see through for a lager. I think it's good. I think it's good as a filler beer for me. Definitely, you mentioned the sun corn, and given how much corn we've had on some of these, I feel like that came through as soon as you said it. Maybe it was placebo. I don't know. But it's definitely not as bad as a lot of the macros domestics that we get. So overall, I think it's definitely. I mean, if this is something we got in our area, I'd grab a 12-pack periodically, throw it in the fridge, and have one. Here and there at the end of the night. I don't think it's necessarily bad. It's just not necessarily something I would necessarily need to seek out and get, I guess. But I would get it periodically just for filler beer. I think 5%. I think that fits. So I'm going to give it a 7. I think it's okay, and I like it enough that that's where I'll put it.
Wow. I was expecting lower the way you were talking about it.
No, I mean, again, it's not the best beer I've ever had. It's not the worst beer I've ever had. I think it's
It's the best of times. It was the worst of
I'm trying to compare it to like Natty Light, right? Because we talked about Natty Light a lot, and we bring it up from time to time. We start talking about some of these kind of filler beers. Not yeah, natural light, yeah.
Yep.
And I think that was one that we're all kind of pleasantly surprised by to some degree, and I think this is better than that. So anyway, Andy, what do you think?
It doesn't because I was trying to compare it to our macros, but however, it's not a light beer. Whereas those are light beer and they taste light. This tastes like it's got some body to it. It's got a little heft, but it does taste corn and macro adjacent. Man, I really wanted to like this beer and like make me feel nostalgic for something I never had because I think it would just be cool to because this looks like you drank this in the 50s, 60s, 70s, down at the corner bar after you get off your shift before you go home and talk to the mates. But at those times you didn't have good craft beer, so this is all you had to drink. And it would be a good fallback filler beer, but a lot of times filler beer is going to be lighter, but this is a decent substitute, but I don't want to give it more credit just for the kind of coolness and reading about the history because it still isn't great. That corn comes through and smells. I wish the aroma was better too. I mean, 5.5. It's okay beer. I would drink it again. My father-in-law really liked it, so I gave him one. So he was a big fan of it. So, but he's just a light lager kind of guy. 5.5.
Jay.
Yeah. We talk about the can that says beer on the commercials in the movies. This is kind of one of those to me.
It's like,
It's the historical aspect of this one, I think, that is the nostalgia and seeing it in like Jaws and knowing the history behind it. It's just a typical lager for me. I get a little bit of the corn, but it's nothing uh, I'm going to seek out. And knowing I've seen it at the local bottle shop and places around here, but they're going to charge more just because of the history of it and trying to get it here. So you're not going to get it like you would a filler beer at a filler beer price. You can get it, but you're not going to want to pay that for it. So for me, I give it a 6 just because of the historical and nostalgia portion of it. But it's just a typical lager to me.
That will be a 6.2 for the Narragansett lager, made on honor and sold on merit, according to the can. Definitely one. If you've had, let us know what you think about it. And we'd love to hear those comments down below, or read them or see them. Or you can jump on into our Hopped Up Beer Review Discord server. It's a chat room. You can chat about them. And check out other links down below. Hopped Up Beer Review merch, Hopped Up Beer Review Patreon, and some other stuff, Easter eggs or something. I don't know. But with that, be sure to like, subscribe, cheers that notification bell. Check out our next videos and all our videos. You're not going to miss a single one. There's Jay. There's Andy in the attic. For those guys, I'm Ben. Cheers, mates.
Cheers, mates.
Narragansett